streets where stories unfold, cobblestone echoes beneath my feet, 1,000 years in every beat. The river carries streams away beneath the bridges of yesterday.
There are cities that impress you the moment you arrive, and then there are cities that slowly reveal themselves. Prague belongs to the second kind, a city of kings and emperors, of revolutions and occupations, a city that has endured wars, fires, and centuries of change, yet somehow never lost its soul. Today, we are in one of Europe's most beautiful capitals, and our journey begins at Prague Castle.
Bom dia. Bom dia, bom dia. Domingo, dia 28. Mas olha aí, ó. Estrutura do prédio aí. Isso é um prédio do governo. Não sei qual é o nome. Aqui é o hotel tá ficando. O eldest, né? Chama Raspada Hotel. Mala Estrana. Vamos lá no Castelo de Praga. Abre às 6 horas da manhã. São 10 horas agora. Mas parece que é 6 horas da manhã, não tem ninguém na rua. Por aqui, pro outro lado. Mas é uma cidadinha bonitinha até agora. Percebi assim, bem limpinho. Vamos lá. É um trem depois do outro, meu amigo. Para não, é trem direto. Não dá, eu acho que 30 segundos, meu amigo. É só turista aqui. Tá dizendo aqui o caminho do castelo aqui em frente. Vamos lá. Parece uma igreja aqui. Bandeira da Ucrânia ali, da Tcheca. Fazendo aqui 11 minutos andando aqui pro castelo. Monumento aí, a caminho do castelo. E aqui eu acredito que é a entrada da igreja. Bora checar ali a igreja.
The story of Prague began more than 1,000 years ago. According to legend, a princess named Libush stood on a hill overlooking the Vltava River. She predicted that a magnificent city would rise here, a city whose glory would touch the stars. Whether the legend is true or not, the city that emerged became one of the most important centers in Europe. Prague is the capital of Czech Republic. Today, the city is home to approximately 1.4 million people. The official language is Czech, a language that can sound unfamiliar to many visitors, but one that carries centuries of history within every word. Every street looks like a movie set. The architecture is incredible. You turn a corner, and suddenly there's another beautiful building. St. Nicholas Church is a Roman Catholic Baroque church in Prague's lesser town, built between 1704 and 1755, and known for its grand architecture and interior.
Quase não é brincadeira não. Olha pra aqui. Ladeira. Subida e descida. Aí.
For centuries, Prague stood at the crossroads of Europe. Merchants traveled here, scholars studied here, kings ruled from here. During the Middle Ages, Prague became one of the richest cities on the continent. Its churches, towers, bridges, and palaces transformed it into a center of culture and power.
Mas do hotel eu vim aqui nessa rua aqui, ó. Ladeirinha. Só subindo, meu amigo. Só subindo aqui, subindo e descendo ladeiras.
One ruler in particular left a permanent mark on the city. Charles IV, emperor, king, visionary. Under his rule during the 14th century, Prague flourished. Universities were founded, cathedrals expanded, and the city entered what many historians call its golden age. But Prague's story is not only one of prosperity. The city endured some of Europe's darkest chapters: religious conflicts, political upheavals, wars that reshaped entire nations. And then, the 20th century arrived. In March 1939, Nazi Germany occupied Prague and transformed the Czech lands into the Protectorate of Bohemia and Moravia. For 6 years, freedom disappeared under German rule. Political opponents were arrested, resistance fighters were executed, and hundreds of thousands of Czechs were forced into labor. More than 118,000 Jews lived in the Protectorate when the occupation began, and most were eventually deported to Terezín, Auschwitz, and other camps. Roughly 77,000 Jews from Bohemia and Moravia were murdered during the Holocaust. Tens of thousands of Czechs died through executions, imprisonment, concentration camps, and Nazi repression. In May 1945, Prague rose against German rule in a final uprising before liberation, ending 6 years of occupation and persecution. Yet, Prague endured, its people endured, and after the war, the city continued its long journey through history.
Aqui é o caminho para ir pro castelo. Essa escada todinha, meu amigo, você tem que subir. Olha.
One remarkable fact about Prague is how much of its historic center survived. Unlike many European capitals heavily damaged during the Second World War, large portions of Prague remained standing. Because of this, visitors today can experience streets and buildings that have existed for centuries. I'm standing in Hradčanské náměstí, right in front of Prague Castle. This square has been here in this form since the 1500s, and for centuries, it was the main ceremonial entrance into the castle. Around me, you've got some really important buildings. The Schwarzenberg Palace, with its painted Renaissance facade, the Psalm Palace right next to it, the Archbishop's Palace, which is still the official residence of the Archbishop of Prague, and the Toscan Palace, once home to noble families and later diplomats. And right here in front is the castle gate with the guards standing watch, the same entrance used for state ceremonies and presidential events today. Everything in this square was built around power, history, and arrival, and it still feels like that today.
That's the exit from the Prague Castle. The entrance is right there. Vamos entrando aqui. Bora dar uma explorada aqui.
We are now at the first courtyard. This area was reshaped in the mid-1700s during the Baroque reconstruction of the castle under Maria Theresa. Inside the courtyard, there are also ceremonial events that take place, especially the changing of the castle guard at the main entrance, which draws visitors every day. Further inside stands the Chapel of the Holy Cross, built around 1756 to 1761, a small but important part of the inner courtyards.
Ali a façada da igreja gótica aqui. O maior complexo, castelo complexo do mundo. Não estou falando castelo, estou falando complexo. O complexo é a combinação dos prédios, né? Ao redor, os prédios históricos. Então, as lojinhas aqui, ó. King Knight. Pra aqui.
I reach for what I want.
Se quiser umas instruções, já checa aqui, ó.
It slips right through my fingers. Every train burns.
Pra checar o complexo todo, uma coisa 50. Exato. Essa aqui é a bilheteria, bem na frente da igreja aqui.
A basic entry ticket to Prague Castle usually costs around 250 to 300 Czech koruna, about 10 to 13 US dollars, depending on season and exchange rates. With this cheapest circuit, you get access to the main interior highlights, including St. Vitus Cathedral, St. George's Basilica, the Old Royal Palace, and Golden Lane. The visit typically takes 2 to 3 hours at a normal walking pace. Standing before St. Vitus Cathedral, it is easy to see why this is one of the most important landmarks in the Czech Republic. Construction began in 1344 and continued for nearly 6 centuries, resulting in the magnificent Gothic cathedral we see today. For centuries, it has served as the site of royal coronations, burials, and some of the most significant events in Czech history. Inside the cathedral lie the tombs of several Bohemian kings and Holy Roman emperors, including Charles IV, the ruler who transformed Prague into one of Europe's great medieval capitals. Also buried here is Saint Wenceslas, the patron saint of the Czech lands, whose chapel remains one of the cathedral's most sacred places.
Amigo, tem que chegar aqui cedo, porque senão aqui é a entrada número 1.
And that's what happens if you don't come early. You'll face long lines, and you'll have plenty of time to reflect on your life choices while standing here. This is the Vladislav Hall inside Prague Castle, the largest and most impressive hall of the old royal palace, built in the late 1400s under King Vladislav II. It served as a ceremonial heart of the kingdom, used for royal coronations, grand banquets, court assemblies, and even mounted knight tournaments that entered through the rider's staircase, making it one of the most unique Gothic halls in Europe due to its massive pillar-free vaulted ceiling. From here, I continue deeper into the old royal palace, where the historic chambers reveal how the kingdom was actually governed. The Diet Hall was the meeting place of Bohemian nobles and estates, where laws, taxes, and political decisions were debated and approved. The old land chambers functioned as the center of justice, where legal cases were recorded and decisions that shaped the kingdom were made. The Bohemian Chancellery served as the administrative core, producing official documents, royal decrees, and correspondence that kept the entire kingdom running. Together, these halls show that the old royal palace was not just a residence for kings, but the true political engine of medieval Bohemia. It was here that ceremony, law, and governance came together under one roof, shaping the history of Prague and the Czech lands for centuries. St. George's Basilica is the oldest church in the castle, founded around 920 AD in Romanesque style. It was a burial place of the Přemyslid dynasty. Today, it remains one of the most historic buildings in the complex.
Chegou o caminho do número 5, que é a rua bem famosa, com as casinhas. Gold Lane. Excuse me. Parece que é uma rua com as lojinhas assim do lado. Aí.
This is our final stop, Golden Lane, a narrow, colorful street. It was built in the late 1500s during the reign of Emperor Rudolf II as housing for castle guards and servants working within the fortress. The small, colorful houses were later occupied by goldsmiths and craftsmen, which is how the street got its popular name. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, it became a modest residential area for poor residents before being preserved and restored as part of the castle complex. One of its most famous residents was Franz Kafka, who briefly lived at number 22 between 1916 and 1917 while writing. Today, the houses display reconstructed interiors showing different periods of everyday life, from medieval workshops to early modern living conditions.
Embaixo é a prisão. Aqui é um porão do lado esquerdo. Colocava os presos e torturava. Sendo torturado aqui pelo frio agora. Caraca. Esperar aí. A nossa jornada, então a gente vai checar essa praça aqui agora. Olha pra aí. Você chega tarde aqui, ó. Fila ali em frente, tá? Guarda ali, ó. Senta nela, ó. Se mexe nem a pau, frio da porra. Tô doido. Senta nela aí, é guerreira mesmo. And the war stole all his dreams. He fought in lands far from home for trembling hearts and broken hands through fire. Tanta gente hoje como ontem, não. Ontem tinha terrível aqui, tem muita gente aqui ontem. Caramba, você não consegue nem andar aqui. Um batendo no outro. It's about 29 degrees. And look at that. Thousands and thousands of people here. Prague. Czechoslovakia.
Charles Bridge was commissioned by King Charles IV in 1357 and served as Prague's only bridge across the Vltava River for nearly 500 years. It was a vital route for kings, merchants, and travelers, and witnessed some of the city's most important historical events. Today, it is famous for its Gothic towers, Baroque statues, spectacular views of Prague Castle, and the traditional lamplighter who still lights the historic gas lamps during the winter season. As you walk across the Charles Bridge, you descend into Mala Strana. Below it, on Kampa Island, Náměstí na Kampi appears beside the Vltava River, with a small winter Christmas market of wooden stalls, warm food, and mulled drinks. It sits directly under and is visible from the bridge above, like a quiet extension of the view. I will tell you this, prices here and across Prague's main winter markets are often higher than many other European cities. During the Christmas season, central locations like this become heavily tourist-focused, so food, drinks, and snacks are typically marked up compared to everyday local prices.
Prova agora esse.
And every tower touching the sky.
Prague has 22 administrative districts, but for tourists, the main ones are Prague 1, 2, and 3. Prague 1 is the historic center, home to Old Town, Charles Bridge, and Prague Castle, and the best place to stay for walking access, though it is the most expensive and crowded. Prague 2 offers a more balanced stay with elegant residential areas like Vinohrady, great restaurants, and a more local feel while still close to the center. Prague 3 is more budget-friendly and alternative, known for nightlife and a local atmosphere, but it is less picturesque and requires short tram rides to reach the main sites. The other districts are mostly residential and not essential for short tourist stays. We are currently in Prague 1, and during the video I'll briefly show Prague 2 and Prague 3 to show how the city changes across districts. I'll also include a visit to Terezín, a former Nazi concentration camp located in the town of Terezín in northern Bohemia, about 1 hour north of Prague, preserved as a historical memorial of World War II.
Tem parque, estacionamento no subsolo. Esse elevador aqui, ó. Peguei. Organizado demais, velho. Igual no Brasil. Chegamos aqui no Old Times Square.
Straight ahead is Prague's Christmas market, one of the most famous Christmas markets in Europe. It has a long tradition dating back to medieval times when winter markets were held for locals to trade food, goods, and handmade crafts during the cold season.
Feira de Natal ainda tá rolando ali. Legal.
Today is December 31st, and the market is still filled with wooden stalls selling traditional Czech food, handmade ornaments, warm drinks, and seasonal treats. Let's go check it out.
Igreja linda, cara. Caramba. Look at that church. That's the old Times Square.
This is Old Town Square, the historic heart of Prague and one of the city's most famous landmarks. Surrounded by Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque buildings, it has been the center of city life for over 1,000 years. Here you'll find the Prague astronomical clock, performing its hourly show since 1410, and the Church of Our Lady before Teen with its iconic Gothic towers. In the center stands the Jan Hus Memorial, while nearby the Old Town Hall Tower offers panoramic views of the city. For centuries, this square has hosted markets, celebrations, and some of the most important events in Czech history.
Happy birthday, King of Kings. Let the bells ring out tonight. Let the stars fill up the sky.
The Prague astronomical clock is one of the most famous landmarks in the Czech Republic and the oldest astronomical clock still operating in the world. It was installed in 1410 on Prague's Old Town Hall and has been keeping time for more than 6 centuries. Unlike an ordinary clock, it was designed to show much more than just the hour. It tracks the movement of the sun and moon, displays the zodiac signs, and reflects how people in the Middle Ages understood the universe. The figures on the Prague astronomical clock represent medieval themes. The skeleton symbolizes death and rings the bell each hour to mark the passage of time, while the other figures represent vanity, greed, and earthly pleasure, as warnings against human temptation. Above them, the 12 apostles appear during the hourly show, which ends with a rooster crow that symbolizes renewal and the passage of time.
Silêncio. Ninguém fala. Um esqueletozinho ali, ó, puxando o sino. Right to the Baroque classic. Olha a decoração daquele prédio ali. Porca aí, ó. Nossa. Porca.
To get up here, you enter through the Old Town Hall building. As you face the tower clock, it will be on the left side of the building. You have the option to take an elevator or stairs depending on access and ticket. The elevator leads most of the way up, and then there's a final section on foot. Once you reach the top, you should expect a full panoramic view of Old Town Square, the red rooftops of Prague, the Gothic spires of the Church of Our Lady before Teen, and the winding streets spreading out in every direction. It's one of the best viewpoints in the city, because you're standing right in the center of everything you've been walking through.
I think this is called a Jewish square. Pretty corner right here, you see something, man. So cute. It's like a Krakow. Oh, this switch right here. Old Zaki Chimney. Faz aí chimney. It's like a cinnamon and it's like a cinnamon bread. It's really good. And they can put all kind of stuff inside. Strawberry, trampoline.
Wenceslas Square is one of Prague's most important and historic locations. Despite its name, it's actually a long boulevard rather than a traditional square. It has been the center of major events in Czech history, including protests, celebrations, and the peaceful Velvet Revolution of 1989. At the top stands the statue of Saint Wenceslas, with the impressive National Museum behind it. Today, the area is filled with shops, restaurants, hotels, and nightlife, making it one of the busiest places in Prague.
Isso aqui é o cabaré Medusa. Aí, ó. Meu amigo. Você entra aqui com a cabeça limpa, sai com a cabeça cheia de cobra. Tô falando, é cobra pra tudo que é lugar. É onde acontece os chamegos aqui. Tudo que é lugar aqui, você vai ver strip club. Me falaram que esse aqui é o caminho aqui pra ir fazer massagem. Vamos fazer uma massagenzinha, Jason.
Prague is one of Europe's most active nightlife cities, filled with pubs, beer halls, cocktail bars, music venues, and clubs that stay busy well into the night. The city is also known for its large erotic massage industry. Unlike Amsterdam, Prague has no single red light district. Erotic massage salons are spread throughout the city, especially in tourist areas in the city center. Visitors frequently encounter advertisements for erotic, tantric, and nude massage services, both online and on the streets. While exact numbers are difficult to confirm, there are believed to be hundreds of erotic massage salons and adult service venues operating across Prague. Today, most of the industry works through private establishments and online advertising rather than visible street prostitution, making erotic massage salons one of the most noticeable parts of Prague's adult entertainment scene. During my 10 days in Prague, I realized that I made the best decision by staying in Prague 1. Even though it is a little more expensive, it was absolutely worth it. Most of Prague's main landmarks, Christmas markets, restaurants, and historic attractions were within walking distance, as I showed you throughout this video. Because of that, I never needed to rent a car. Parking in the city center can be difficult and expensive, making a vehicle more trouble than it's worth. If you're visiting during the Christmas season, book your hotel as early as possible. Winter is one of Prague's busiest times of the year, and hotel prices can increase significantly, especially in Prague 1, where you'll be closest to the main attractions and Christmas markets. For example, my first hotel, Hotel Waldstein, where I stayed for 6 nights from December 27th, 2025 to January 2nd, 2026, cost me $1,524. During other times of the year, that same stay would have cost around $654. That's how expensive Prague can become during the Christmas and New Year's season. What surprised me the most was that once I booked the room through Booking.com, there was no way to cancel it. I also wasn't expecting to end up with a single bed instead of a queen bed. At that point, there wasn't much I could do except make the best of it. What would you have done in my place?
Entrar aqui no quarto. Olha o estilo. O pátio aqui antigo, parece da Itália. É impressionante como é que o pessoal toma nos lugares tão antigos em um apartamento bem legalzinho. Isso aqui é só um quarto. $1.500. 6 noites. Não tem nada, só tem um banheiro aqui, é legal. Mal sujeira aí. Mas é assim mesmo.
My second hotel was a completely different experience. Hotel Neruda exceeded all my expectations. From location and staff service to breakfast, room quality, cleanliness, and quiet atmosphere, everything was excellent. The moment I checked in, I could immediately feel the difference. Hotel Neruda is not only affordable, but also has one of the best locations in Prague. I was right next to Prague Castle, one of the city's most famous landmarks. Every morning, I could step outside and be within minutes of the castle grounds, historic streets, and some of Prague's best viewpoints. The breakfast was excellent, the staff was professional and welcoming, and the hotel maintained a peaceful atmosphere, despite being in one of the city's most visited areas. After long days exploring Prague, returning to a clean, comfortable, and quiet room made a huge difference. For my traveler friends looking for location, comfort, and quality service, Hotel Neruda is the one for you. It was a highlight of my stay in Prague.
Rapaz, esse é o segundo hotel aqui, ó, em Praga. Vê que hotel legalzinho. Bem do lado do castelo. O castelo é aquele lá direito. Vou mostrar pra vocês daqui a pouco. Aí tem guarda-roupa, televisão. Ó, banheirinho aqui legal, ó. Meu irmão, você gosta de ter ficado aqui.
A place that you should not miss in Prague 1, inside the historic Jewish quarter, is part of the Jewish Museum in Prague, which preserves some of the most important Jewish heritage sites in Europe, including synagogues, ceremonial halls, and the Old Jewish Cemetery. The cemetery itself is one of the oldest surviving Jewish burial grounds on the continent, with graves dating back to the 1400s and over 300 years of continuous use. Our final stop is Terezín, located about 60 kilometers or 37 miles north of Prague. From Prague's Nádraží Holešovice bus station, direct buses take approximately 1 hour, making it an easy day trip. Terezín was not built as a concentration camp. It began as an 18th century military fortress surrounded by thick walls and designed for defense. In 1941, the Nazis turned it into a ghetto and concentration camp because its fortified layout made it easy to isolate and control prisoners. Unlike Auschwitz, Terezín was not primarily an extermination camp. Instead, it served mainly as a transit camp where Jewish men, women, and children from across Europe were imprisoned before being deported to death camps in occupied Poland. Around 155,000 people passed through Terezín during World War II. More than 33,000 died here from starvation, disease, overcrowding, and brutal living conditions. Nearly 88,000 others were sent to extermination camps, where most were murdered. The Nazis also used Terezín as a propaganda tool. They staged concerts, cleaned the streets, and decorated parts of the town to convince the outside world that Jews were living peacefully. Even the International Red Cross was shown this carefully orchestrated illusion. Shortly afterward, many of the prisoners who appeared in the visit were deported to Auschwitz.
These are the neo-Soviet confinements that were built.
Jews for the Germans are right here. Somente para os alemães aqui, ó, mas eram os que eram contra o governo de Hitler.
Check pictures. This is some of them. For example, this one was 83 years old, just because he was German.
Ficavam os presos políticos aqui. E um deles foi um dos herdeiros do trono da Hungária. That's the area where all the Jews were kept during the German occupation.
After visiting the former concentration camp, the guide took us into the town of Terezín, where many German soldiers, Nazi officials, and local civilians lived during the war, while prisoners were held separately in the camp and ghetto. Today, the museum preserves the history and memories of those who suffered there.
A cidade onde vivia
You can see on the both ends of the street are the brick walls.
e alguns soldados
Bricks somehow are better
alemães
to the cannonballs, not the
lá
rocks.
de fora da construção.
We'll walk by the town hall,
Inside the Terezín Memorial Museum, photographs, letters, and children's drawings tell the stories of the people imprisoned here. The most moving moment came from our guide, who shared that his mother was imprisoned at Flossenburg concentration camp as a Jewish child and survived. Hearing this story directly from the son of a survivor made our visit to Terezín unforgettable.
Essa aqui é a situação onde a mãe do guia aqui foi liberada. Peguei.
Thank you for joining me on this journey through Prague and Terezín. I hope you enjoyed exploring the history, culture, and unforgettable stories of this incredible place. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next adventure.